The news surrounding the Roloff family has taken a shocking and tragic turn. What was once a household name built on years of reality television success has now spiraled into chaos, confusion, and heartbreak. Reports are flooding in that Matt Roloff's home, the centerpiece of Roloff Farms and a symbol of the family's legacy, has caught fire under mysterious circumstances. The blaze erupted late in the night, engulfing large sections of the property before firefighters could bring it under control. Eyewitnesses described the flames as massive, reaching above the treetops and illuminating the Oregon sky. Neighbors were awakened by the smell of smoke and the terrifying crackle of wood collapsing as the fire spread through the structure. Emergency services responded quickly, but despite their efforts, the damage was extensive. The first questions that emerged were terrifying ones. Who was inside the house at the time of the fire? Was anyone hurt? Was this simply an accident, or was something more sinister at play? Reports suggest that Caryn Chandler, Matt's longtime partner and now wife, was present during the incident. Early updates confirm that Caryn was rushed to the hospital, suffering from smoke inhalation and minor injuries. Her condition is reportedly stable, though medical professionals are keeping her under close observation. The image of Caryn being carried out of the burning property, supported by paramedics and surrounded by flashing red lights, has already become one of the most talked about scenes in the media cycle. But the darkest question lingers: did someone lose their life in this devastating event? Initial reports remain conflicting. Some sources claim that everyone made it out safely, while others whisper about an unconfirmed fatality. The lack of official information has only fueled speculation, with fans of Little People, Big World anxiously awaiting answers. What adds another layer of drama is the context. Just weeks ago, the Roloff family was already embroiled in controversies. Rumors of tension between Matt and Caryn had been circulating, fueled by financial scandals and allegations that Caryn had mishandled large sums of money. Matt's children were divided, with some expressing open disapproval of Caryn and others attempting to defend her. The fire, therefore, has ignited not just the house but the already fragile relationships holding this family together. For longtime viewers, the farm was more than property. It was a symbol of perseverance, growth, and family unity, even through turmoil. Now, the sight of charred beams and blackened rubble paints a much darker picture. The questions have shifted from the legacy of the Roloffs to their very survival. The sheriff's office has confirmed that a full investigation is underway. Fire marshals are working to determine the exact cause of the blaze, though early speculation ranges from electrical malfunctions to possible arson. Given the recent scandals and high-profile nature of the Roloff family, authorities are not ruling anything out. For Caryn, this incident is especially devastating. Already under public scrutiny due to financial controversies, she now finds herself hospitalized, her reputation in tatters, and her future with Matt more uncertain than ever. For Matt, the loss of his home is a crushing blow, not only personally but also symbolically, as the farm represented decades of hard work and resilience. As news outlets continue to cover the unfolding story, the central mystery remains: who, if anyone, truly lost their life in the fire? The absence of clear answers has left fans and followers glued to every update, desperate for confirmation and clarity. The morning after the fire at Matt Roloff's house, the Roloff family's world looked completely different. What was once a warm home filled with memories, laughter, and family dinners had now turned into ash and rubble. Emergency responders had worked tirelessly through the night, but the devastation was clear: nothing looked the same anymore. For fans who have followed the Roloff family for years on Little People, Big World, this moment was almost too difficult to process. The house that viewers had seen on television for nearly 2 decades, the house where Matt and Amy raised their children, and the house that symbolized so much of the family's history, was gone. The flames had consumed not just a structure, but also a legacy. While Matt survived the terrifying blaze, the tragedy deepened when reports confirmed that Caryn Chandler had been rushed to the hospital. Witnesses said she was seen being carried out by paramedics, visibly shaken, coughing heavily from smoke inhalation, and barely able to stand on her own. To many, it was a stark reminder of just how fragile life becomes in the face of natural disasters and accidents. But the question still lingered among everyone: what actually caused this fire? Neighbors reported hearing a loud popping sound before the flames erupted. Some speculated it might have been an electrical issue. Others wondered if something more sinister had happened. Authorities promised a full investigation, but in the meantime, the Roloff family had to confront their immediate reality: where would they live, and how would they move forward after losing everything? Zach Roloff, Matt's son, was seen arriving at the property hours later. His face was heavy with emotion, eyes filled with tears as he stood in front of what used to be his childhood home. Cameras caught him embracing his wife, Tori, and holding on to their children, who were too young to understand the full magnitude of what had just happened. For Zach, the fire wasn't just about property damage, it was about losing the foundation of his family's past. Meanwhile, Amy Roloff, Matt's ex-wife, released a heartbreaking statement on social media. She wrote, "My heart is broken seeing what has happened at the farm. No matter what changes have come over the years, that house held decades of love, memories, and family moments that can never be replaced. I'm grateful everyone made it out alive, but this is a wound that will take a long time to heal." Fans flooded Amy's post with comments of support, with many writing that they too felt devastated as longtime viewers. Some admitted they cried seeing the images of the house in flames. It wasn't just the Roloff family's home, it was America's home, a place millions of people had welcomed into their living rooms every week. As the hours passed, updates on Caryn's condition trickled in. Sources close to the family revealed she was stable but still under observation. Doctors were monitoring her lungs for damage caused by the heavy smoke she had inhaled. There were also reports that she had suffered minor burns on her arms and hands while trying to escape. Despite this, Caryn was said to be in good spirits, even managing to speak briefly with Matt from her hospital bed. Matt himself looked devastated when he gave a short statement outside the ruins of his home. His voice cracked as he said, "This house was more than just walls, it was our family's history. We lost something irreplaceable tonight, but I thank God that Caryn is alive, that we all are alive. The things we lost can't be replaced, but lives can't be rebuilt once they're gone." The moment was raw, emotional, and heartbreaking to witness. At the same time, online speculation about who died continued to swirl. Initial rumors claimed that someone may not have made it out of the blaze, sparking a frenzy among fans. However, officials later confirmed that everyone had been accounted for. No lives were lost in the fire, though the emotional scars it left behind were enormous. What's more, insurance adjusters and investigators were expected to arrive at the property within days. The damage was estimated to be worth millions, and whether the house could be rebuilt was still uncertain. The Roloff family now faced one of the darkest chapters in their history. Caryn in the hospital, Matt grieving his home, and the children mourning their past, the story was unfolding in real time, and every update only seemed to deepen the tragedy. The Roloff family saga has entered yet another deeply complicated and emotional chapter. In the aftermath of the devastating house fire that left Matt Roloff injured and Caryn Chandler hospitalized, the atmosphere around the Roloff Farms property remains tense, fragile, and uncertain. Emergency responders spent hours combing through the wreckage of Matt's home, looking for structural weaknesses and potential hidden flare-ups. Although the fire was contained, the smell of smoke still lingers in the air, a reminder of the tragedy that unfolded. For longtime fans of Little People, Big World, this moment feels surreal, watching a family known for resilience suddenly gripped by chaos and loss. Authorities have now released preliminary statements suggesting that the blaze may have originated in the kitchen area. Investigators noted signs of electrical malfunction, but there is still no definitive conclusion. This uncertainty has only fueled public speculation, especially given the ongoing marital tensions between Matt and Caryn. Some followers on social media are questioning whether this tragedy was purely accidental, or if there's more beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Caryn's condition remains a source of conflicting updates. Hospital officials have confirmed that she is being treated for smoke inhalation and stress-related complications. Doctors described her status as stable but closely monitored. Matt, recovering from his own injuries, has reportedly been allowed limited visits to her hospital room. Witnesses described the encounters as brief and emotional, with Matt appearing visibly shaken by the reality of seeing Caryn hooked up to oxygen support. The wider Roloff family is also reeling. Zach and Jeremy Roloff, Matt's sons from his marriage with Amy Roloff, have both spoken cautiously about the situation. Neither has given a full interview yet, but posts on social media suggest they are struggling to process the disaster while also protecting their children from the fallout. Amy, too, has been spotted on the farm property, offering quiet support to her sons while avoiding the media frenzy. The fire, however, is not the only storm surrounding the Roloff household. Just days before the tragedy, rumors circulated online about Caryn Chandler's alleged financial mismanagement and strained relationship with Matt. Blogs and fan accounts had been buzzing about whispers of missing money, questions about property ownership, and even disputes over who truly controlled daily farm operations. In light of the fire, these whispers have grown louder, merging with speculation about whether Caryn's hospitalization might also involve stress over deeper personal or legal troubles. Local news outlets have begun to frame the entire incident as a turning point in the Roloff legacy. What began decades ago as a heartwarming family journey on national television has now transformed into a cautionary tale of fame, pressure, and fractured trust. Every development, from Caryn's health updates to Matt's public appearances, is being dissected by fans, critics, and media alike. Adding to the weight of the moment, questions remain about who, if anyone, may have lost their life in the fire. Initial reports suggested that all immediate family members had been accounted for, but vague language from officials has kept speculation alive. Phrases like "no final confirmations have been made" and "ongoing identification procedures" have left the public both hopeful and anxious. The haunting question, who died, hangs in the air, with each news update either easing or deepening the community's fears. For now, the Roloff farm is a site of mourning, investigation, and whispered conversations. Yellow police tape flutters in the wind. Charred beams from the destroyed portion of Matt's house stand as grim monuments to what has been lost. And the family, fractured though it may be, must face both the immediate grief of fire and the long-term consequences of broken trust. The chaos surrounding the Roloff family has only deepened. What began as a devastating house fire has spiraled into a nightmare that has left fans and neighbors stunned, the media scrambling for answers, and the Roloffs themselves facing more heartbreak than they ever could have imagined. The flames that engulfed Matt Roloff's property were not just a random accident. At least, that is what investigators are beginning to suspect. The fire tore through the home so quickly that emergency responders struggled to get it under control. In the aftermath, while the fire crews sifted through the wreckage, grim questions started to emerge. Was this fire intentionally set? Or was it a tragic chain of failures, faulty wiring, an accident in the kitchen, or some other small mistake that led to catastrophe? Matt's house has long been a symbol of his perseverance. He poured his energy into maintaining the property, ensuring it remained not only a home but also a centerpiece of the Roloff family's legacy. Watching that house reduced to charred remains was like watching decades of dreams collapse in minutes. But the real shock came after the smoke cleared. Authorities confirmed that someone did not make it out in time. That revelation sent ripples through the Roloff community, fans, and beyond. While officials have not released an official name, speculation is running wild. Was it a guest? A close family member? Or someone else altogether? Every update only deepens the suspense and the sense of dread. Caryn Chandler, Matt's partner, was rushed to the hospital. She reportedly suffered smoke inhalation and physical injuries while trying to escape the fire. Eyewitnesses claim Caryn looked disoriented as she was carried away on a stretcher, her face pale, her body weak from the ordeal. For fans who have followed her journey with Matt for years, seeing her in such a vulnerable position was heartbreaking. Now, the public is watching closely as doctors release updates about Caryn's condition. Hospital staff remain cautious but note that recovery could be slow and painful. This has left Matt emotionally shattered. Not only is he grappling with the destruction of his home, but he's also left to confront the terrifying possibility of losing the woman who has stood beside him through countless battles. Meanwhile, the rumor mill is spinning out of control. On social media, Countless posts are circulating with hashtags like hashtag pray for Roloffs, hashtag justice for Matt, and hashtag Caryn Strong. Supporters are pouring out messages of love, but critics are whispering darker theories, suggesting internal conflict, hidden financial pressures, or long-buried secrets could have contributed to the current tragedy. The Roloff children, Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob, are said to be reeling from the crisis. Insiders claim that despite their past differences, they've come together in this dark hour, rallying around their father. Fans of Little People, Big World know how strained those relationships have been over the years, particularly with arguments over the family farm. But now, tragedy has forced unity. Still, questions remain. Who exactly died in the fire? Why was Caryn so close to the scene when the blaze erupted? And why are investigators suddenly digging into financial documents connected to the Roloff property? Some reports suggest that investigators are pursuing multiple leads at once, including the possibility of arson, insurance fraud, or even foul play. The emotional toll is undeniable. Matt has always portrayed himself as a fighter, someone who refuses to let his disability or personal struggles define him. But this is a battle that may break even him. The image of Matt standing outside the ruins of his home, shoulders slumped, watching firefighters comb through debris, has become a haunting symbol of resilience under siege. Caryn's hospitalization adds another devastating layer. Even as Matt grieves the loss of his home and the mystery surrounding the death, he must also wait anxiously for updates from the doctors caring for her. Friends close to the family say Matt has been restless, pacing hospital hallways, barely eating, unable to focus on anything except Caryn's recovery. And yet, there's an undeniable sense that more revelations are on the way. Authorities have hinted at a press conference scheduled later this week. Fans are bracing themselves for the announcement. Will they finally reveal the identity of the person who died? Will new evidence point toward intentional wrongdoing? Or will it confirm that this was nothing more than a heartbreaking accident that claimed more than it should have? For now, the Roloff family's future hangs in the balance. What began as just another chapter in their complicated journey has become their darkest saga yet. The fire, the hospitalization, the mystery surrounding the death, it's all a storm they never could have prepared for. And the world is watching. The following days after the fire were some of the most difficult in the Roloff family's history. News outlets across Oregon and beyond continued to run headline after headline: Matt Roloff's farm in flames, Caryn Chandler hospitalized after tragic fire, who survived? Who didn't? The speculation, confusion, and fear were as destructive as the flames themselves. For Matt Roloff, the man who had built his legacy on resilience, farming, and family, the days felt like they were slipping through his fingers. He was trying to piece together what had actually happened during those crucial moments of the blaze. Fire investigators were slowly uncovering evidence, but until their final report, all anyone could do was wait. Family tensions rose dramatically. Zach and Jeremy both wanted answers: who was responsible, how the fire had spread so quickly, and why their father hadn't been able to save Caryn before she was carried away in an ambulance. For them, the pain of watching Caryn in a hospital bed was almost unbearable. She remained weak, on oxygen, her burns healing slowly. She kept asking Matt the same heartbreaking question every time she woke up: did everyone make it out? And each time, Matt had to avoid answering directly. Because the truth was complicated. One family friend, a longtime worker on the farm, had not survived the fire. This was someone who had been with the Roloffs for years, helping during pumpkin season, maintaining the grounds, assisting with the crops. His name was whispered quietly among the family members, but the media had already reported it. The loss only made the tragedy heavier. Matt carried a visible weight of guilt. He kept repeating, "It happened on my property. It happened under my watch." Though no one had yet determined if the fire was accidental or intentional, the sense of responsibility pressed down on him. Meanwhile, Caryn's condition grew more complicated. Doctors revealed that smoke inhalation had caused significant damage to her lungs. She was in and out of intensive care, with tubes and machines supporting her breathing. For Matt, seeing her like this was a nightmare. For years, their relationship had been scrutinized by fans and critics alike. Now, the woman he had chosen to share his future with was fighting for her life, and the possibility of losing her haunted him. The Roloff children were deeply divided during this crisis. Some felt Matt was hiding too much. Others believed he was doing his best to protect the family from media frenzy. Molly, usually quiet and private, stepped forward this time. She urged her siblings to stay united instead of tearing each other apart. Her emotional plea to stop fighting and start supporting Dad and Caryn reminded everyone of the bigger picture: survival, healing, and holding the family together. Public reaction was equally intense. Fans flooded social media with prayers, theories, and anger. Some demanded transparency: "We deserve to know what happened." Others defended the family's right to privacy: "Let them grieve in peace." Hashtags like #PrayForTheRoloffs and #Roloff Farm Fire trended for days. The investigation eventually pointed to faulty electrical wiring in one of the older parts of the house. While nothing had been confirmed, the fire department released a statement indicating that the blaze had likely started in the basement, quickly spreading due to outdated insulation and wiring. This explanation brought some relief: it wasn't intentional, but it didn't ease the pain of loss. Matt, always the planner, began talking about rebuilding. But this time, his tone wasn't filled with optimism. Instead, it was layered with grief and caution. He admitted publicly in a rare interview, "I don't know if I can rebuild what we lost. This wasn't just a house. It was a part of us." At the same time, Caryn's hospitalization became the central emotional anchor for the family. Every update from the doctors mattered. The smallest improvement, her ability to breathe a little more on her own, a faint smile when one of the kids visited, gave hope. The Roloffs knew they couldn't lose her too. But there were also whispers of anger within the family. Some asked why Caryn had been inside the house so late, why she hadn't left sooner. Others wondered if more could have been done to prevent the fire from spreading so quickly. These questions weren't just about blame. They were about struggling to process a traumatic event that had altered their lives forever. The tragedy also reignited old divisions between the Roloff children and their father. Tensions over the farm, ownership, and inheritance bubbled back to the surface. Some accused Matt of caring more about the property than the people. Others felt this was an unfair judgment. The truth was, grief had no clear direction. It made people lash out, cry, and sometimes shut down. Through all of this, Matt made one vow: Caryn would survive, and the farm would not disappear. "We've been through storms before," he said in one emotional family gathering. "But this one, we'll face it together. We have to." And yet, deep inside, Matt knew things would never truly be the same. The Roloff family's turmoil continues to spiral in directions no one could have predicted. In the aftermath of the devastating fire that tore through Matt Roloff's home, the weight of grief and confusion lingers heavily over the community. For fans who have followed this family for years through Little People, Big World, the current reality feels darker and more overwhelming than any drama ever shown on screen. The fire itself has become the focal point of countless questions. Investigators are still piecing together exactly how it began, with speculation ranging from faulty wiring, to an unattended appliance, to even more sinister theories whispered in hushed tones online. Whatever the cause, the blaze spread faster than anyone could react, consuming not only parts of the house but also precious memories, belongings, and, most tragically, the safety of the people inside. Reports continue to swirl about who was present at the house when the fire started. Eyewitnesses claim that Caryn Chandler was found unconscious, suffering from smoke inhalation, and rushed to the hospital. Her condition has been described as serious but stable, though her ability to speak or clarify her side of the story has been limited. Meanwhile, conflicting accounts suggest that at least one individual, possibly a close family associate or worker on the farm, did not survive the incident. Authorities have yet to confirm the full details, but the question who died continues to echo across social media feeds, leaving fans desperate for answers. For Matt Roloff, the shock is unlike anything he's faced before. He has endured years of public scrutiny, farm disputes, family rifts, and endless speculation about his relationship with Caryn. But this tragedy, has stripped away the usual layers of family drama and left behind something raw and irreversible. Sources close to Matt describe him as devastated and barely holding on, leaning heavily on his children for emotional support. Still, fractures in the family remain. Zach and Jeremy, long at odds with Matt over control of the farm and financial disagreements, are said to be struggling to put aside their bitterness in order to come together during this dark time. Social media has played its own role in magnifying the crisis. Fans have flooded platforms with sympathy posts, theories, and even accusations. Some believe the fire was purely accidental. Others point to Caryn's alleged history of conflict within the family and her rumored secrets as a potential source of deeper trouble. Unverified claims of hidden financial stress, insurance disputes, and strained trust only add fuel to an already raging conversation. At the hospital, Caryn's situation is being monitored closely. Doctors have reported progress in her recovery, but the emotional wounds she carries are undeniable. If she was, as some claim, in the house with Matt at the time, the trauma of surviving the fire while others may not have is bound to haunt her indefinitely. Whispers of divorce, already sparked by earlier reports of infidelity and financial mismanagement, have resurfaced in light of these events. Some fans believe this may mark the breaking point in Matt and Caryn's partnership, while others insist that enduring such tragedy together could bind them closer than ever. Adding to the intensity is the role of law enforcement. Local officials have confirmed that a full-scale investigation is underway, not only into the fire itself but also into surrounding circumstances that may have contributed to it. Insurance agencies, forensic teams, and even federal agencies are rumored to be involved, raising the stakes of what might be uncovered in the weeks to come. As night falls over the Roloff property, the once vibrant farm, home to years of cherished pumpkin season events and family milestones, now stands as a somber reminder of loss. Charred beams, collapsed walls, and the lingering smell of smoke tell a story that no camera crew could ever fully capture. Fans wait with bated breath, hoping for clarity, for truth, and perhaps for healing. But one thing is certain, this chapter in the Roloff family's life will leave a permanent mark, not just on them, but on everyone who has followed their journey for nearly 2 decades. The fire may have reduced their home to ashes, but the questions left behind burn hotter than ever.